When we look at business sales in 2025, there are a number of new risks that previously were at the lower end of the risk spectrum and priorities for exit planning. But after talking with wealth managers, attorneys, buyers, and sellers for mergers and acquisitions, the past 2 weeks, three main themes have popped up of things that you're going to want to take a closer look at. And the first is, what are tariffs going to do for my business when I'm preparing to sell? And it really depends on your industry, but if you have a lot of exposure for your supply chain that's coming in from outside the United States, that just means that you need to stay on top of passing through those additional costs onto the customer and protecting profit margin. If there's a 20% increase for some countries, or up to 60, 70% increase if your supply chain is heavily reliant on China, it means a lot of volatility and extra work to keep businesses normal. There's going to be some losers when it comes to mergers and acquisitions, and there's going to be some winners. So if you're, a small mid-cap, small business with your supply chain, your people, your services all in the United States, great. You're going to be, a better target to be sold. And if you have some potential risk here for selling and you're on the opposite end of that spectrum, just means that you're going to have to do a bit more work to make sure that the business can run as usual when a new buyer comes on board. The second big thing that we see is staffing risk. And so, there's a lot of unknowns, and that's the big thing. It's unknown if a mass deportation policy will go into effect. We don't know if it's going to be something that is as stringent as, workplace raids, or we're not certain if it's going to be just, violent criminals on the deportation list. And that unknown means, it just means it's going to be harder for a buyer to come in and evaluate risk. And that means a buyer is going to price it in to their offer and their terms, not knowing what the future is. So it could just take longer to sell a business based on not really understanding what the staffing impact could be in the future. And the third risk really is a culmination of the first two. So supply chain and staffing. So if pricing goes up because of tariffs, and if it becomes harder to staff a business, businesses are going to have to pay people more money to do a job. That means that inflation could theoretically go up. If there's no inflation a year from now, 2 years from now, then we would expect business as usual from the Fed, where we've seen some great reductions in 2024. And that means that cost of capital to buy a business is more accessible, and it's easier to sell a business. So, we don't know what the future is going to hold, but buying and selling a business in 2025 looks great for now. And those unknowns of what the future is going to look like just needs to be priced in by a buyer and a seller. And you need to think about it as either a business seller or a partner to a small business or a mid-sized business, of how you can prepare for the future. What does the fair market value of your business really look at? Where are the risks, and what are the risks that I can clean up now in exit planning a few years before a sale? And so if you have any questions on how this could impact a business valuation, that's what my team does here at Exit Equity. We price that into the multiple. We price that into our forecasts and discounted free cash flow of a value range for what a business can be sold for and what the fair market value is. So again, if you need any help with this, please reach out to our team. We're trying the best we can to be clinical and fair and square advisors to help our clients plan for the future.